Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Renol Septiawan. My name 3720112 and I'm from class Management Business Syariah 3D. And on this video, I will read a text about economic to fulfill English economic subject. The story behind Germany economic rebirth after World War II. Germany asked to becoming a global economic power known as the German economic miracle or Wirtschaftswunder had its origin at the end of the World War II when much of the country was in ruins. Allied forces had attacked or bombed large part of this infrastructure. The city of Dresden was completely destroyed. The population of Cologne had dropped from 750,000 to 32,000. In short, Germany was a ruined state facing an incredible black future. But by 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell and Germany was once again reunited, it was envy of the most of the world. Germany had the third biggest economy in the world, trailing only Japan and the United States in terms of gross domestic product or GDP. It's understandable why many would proclaim Germany rebirth to be an economic miracle. But how did Germany accomplish such a feat? Germany after the war. The number tell a story of the nation in this series. Industrial output was down by a third. The country housing stock was reduced by 20%. Food production was half the level it was before the start of the war. Many of the nation men between the age of 18 and the demographic which could do the heavy lifting to literally rebuild the country had been either killed or crippled. During the war, Hitler had instituted food rations, limiting the civilian population to no more than 2,000 calories per day. After the war, the Allies continued this food rationing policy and limit the population to between 1,000 to 1,500 calories per day. The country was occupied by four nations, and soon it would be divided into half. The eastern half became a socialist state, part of the Iron Curtain that was heavily influenced by the Soviet policy. The western half became a democracy, and the calc in the middle was of the former capital of Berlin, which divided into, eventually separated by what became known as the Berlin Wall. Walter Eucken, perhaps the most important person in Germany's stunning rebirth, was Walter Eucken, the son of the Nobel Prize winner in literature. Eucken studied economics at the University of Bonn after in the stint in the World War I. Eucken started teaching at his alma mater. He eventually moved on the University of Freiburg, which he would make an international known. The socialist free market. Eucken gained followers at the school, which became one of the few places in Germany where those opposed to Hitler could express their views. But more importantly, it is also where he began to develop his economic theories, which became known as the Freiburg School, ordoliberalism, or the socialist free market. Eucken's ideas were firmly rooted in the camp of free market capitalism while also allowing a role of government involvement to ensure that this system worked for as many people as possible. For instance, strong regulation would be put in place to prevent cartels and monopolies from forming. In addition, a large social welfare system would serve as a safety net for those who found themselves struggling. He also supported having a strong central bank independent from the government, which is focused on using monetary politics to keep price stable. In many ways mirroring the same thoughts brought to fame by Milton Friedman. The reaction to Eucken. The type of economic system Eucken was proposing might sound completely normal today, but at the time it was seen as pretty radical. One must consider Eucken's philosophy in the era in which he guaranteed it. The father of Germany's economic miracle, As the West Germany is in infancy, there became a heavy debate over the direction of the new state fiscal policy. Many, including labor leaders and members of the Social Democratic Party, want to have a system that still maintains government control. But the protege of Auken, a man by name of Ludwig Erhard, who became known as the father of German economic miracle, had begun to gain prominence with American forces, which were still in de facto control of Germany. The new German currency. The currency was scheduled to be introduced on June 21, 1988, in the extremely controversial move. Erhard also decided to remove price control on the same day. Erhard was almost universally criticized for his decision. Erhard was brought into office of the U.S. General Lucius Clay, who was commanding overseeing and occupied western half of Germany. Clay told Erhard that his advisor informed him the German drastic new policy would be a terrible mistake. Erhard responded, "Don't listen to them, General, my advice they'll me the same thing." But remarkably, Erhard proved everyone wrong. Kesimpulan dari the history of behind Germany economic rebirth after World War III. Latar belakang lahirnya ekonomi Jerman setelah Perang Dunia Kedua. Peningkatan ini membuat Jerman sebagai negara dengan ekonomi terkuat di Eropa sekaligus di dunia. Peningkatan ini disebut dengan keajaiban ekonomi Jerman yang berasal pada Perang Dunia II. Pada waktu itu, kota Dresden hancur total. Kemudian pada tahun 1989 Jerman kembali bersatu. Hal itu membuat Jerman sebagai negara dengan terbesar ekonomi dunia, yaitu berada pada 3 posisi dunia setelah Jepang dan Amerika Serikat. Walter Auken sebagai orang terpenting dalam kelahiran ekonomi Jerman yang belajar di Universitas Bonn, dan dia mengembangkan teori ekonominya yang dikenal dengan Sekolah Freiburg Oldobrealisme atau pasar bebas. Ide Auken berakar kuat dari pasar bebas. Sistem ekonomi yang diusulkan Auken mungkin terdengar sangat normal saat ini, tetapi pada saat itu dianggap cukup radikal. Seorang harus mempertimbangkan filosofi Auken di era mana ia menghasilkannya. That is the text I can read and the conclusion. Thank you for watching and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.